And gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for yet another episode of the Far End of the Bench podcast, which means we have another center of attention. Yes, I know I look a little bit different. I look a little bit strange. I did just get a new Cowboy hat, so I do have to take every advantage I can of showing it off, and I do host a show on the internet. So, gratuitous hat shot. This is an alternate timeline. If I had never moved out of Gunnison and I worked on a ranch in the off seasons, this is what I would look like and dress like on a daily basis. But we are here. It's time to talk sports. Nico and I have a bunch of topics ready for you guys. And to kick things off with the center of attention, it is a special time of year. If you are a really big sports fan, this is why we say the sports calendar. If you think about it, there's really only like 2 or 3 days where there's not an athletic competition happening. We had the Olympics this year, obviously. That changed some things. But the Little League World Series is a tradition. I grew up playing baseball. I know that Nico and I both have friends that played very high-level baseball and continued on. I'm not sure if we had anybody go to Williamsport, but I do know people went to Cooperstown. That was more of the big tournament that we tried to go to. Been to Omaha, went to Arizona, all that. But Williamsport is a special place because of the fact that we get to see kids on ESPN and they get their kind of chance to shine. And we see international teams because the international level of Little League Baseball is on another level. I was in Curacao over winter break, and they are still boasting the fact that they are, I believe, the 2020, I think they're the last Little League World Series champions. They were still talking about that on the tour that I was on. We were on the bus, and they're like, and if you look to the right, you will see the home of the Little League World Series champion Curacao national team. And it was great. But this year, we have a team that is absolutely steamrolling people. Team Venezuela, if you don't know the story, they won their regional tournament. I think that's 4 games to get out of the Latin America bracket into Williamsport. This is a coach that's been here in the past. They've had teams like this. Venezuela's obviously got a really big baseball background. Look through the MLB and you'll probably find a Venezuelan tie somewhere. But this team won their regional tournament. I believe they scored 91 runs and surrendered 0 in the regional tournament. I think they've surrendered a total of 6 runs in this Little League World Series tournament, and they just pounded Mexico, who's another very good program and has a lot of history at the national level, and they were riding highs, and it could have been a team of destiny situation because they just recently had a coach. So center of attention, I texted Nico, like I had a lot of things that I was going to pull from, and normally we wouldn't really talk about the Little League World Series, but this team, Venezuela, is a monster. They got a kid that throws 75 from, I think, 57 feet, which is what the Little League World Series mound is set at. That is the equivalent of facing a 103-mile-an-hour fastball at the MLB level when they do the math about it. It's weird. I know people will say, we'll probably get people in the comments, which if you are in the comments, at least be sure to subscribe, like the channel, follow us on social media at FEOTB Pod and all that stuff. You'll say that it's a bogus tournament. There are rules that I think are a little bit convoluted, so that's why Cooperstown is a little bit more favored amongst Little League baseball players. But Williamsport, you cannot deny the hype of ESPN. You cannot deny some of the moments. Like, you get homers out of nowhere. We think that playoff baseball is crazy. College baseball, the College World Series does get a little bit nuts because you have guys that have never hit a home run before in their life all of a sudden stepping up and hitting 3 home run bombs. And the Little League World Series has had that too. Sometimes these kids are just fishing. They're just out there swinging at nothing. You're like, there's no way he's going to, oh my God, he just hit it out. Oh, he just hit a 3-run home run, and that team is now going to win and move on and send the other team home. It's great drama, and it's not necessarily like my favorite sporting event of the year, but the Little League World Series deserves a little bit of mention. We are a sports podcast, episode 194 of the Far End of the Bench podcast coming your way with the alternate timeline. Cowboy, Jimmy Pilato, and Nico Bryant. Let's get into it.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.